welcome to my channel. I'm Phoebe and I was going to sort of take you through the Føyka jumper that I finished knitting. It's a very, very beautiful jumper. I've sort of raved on about it. Don't know how many videos I've talked about it, but this is a dedicated video just to the jumper. The Føyka jumper is by Linka Neumann. And it's part of her Wilderness Knits collection. I bought the book of it on Amazon. I think it was around £20, and it's really nice. I've probably bookmarked about 4 other patterns that I would really like to do. She's got a cardigan in there that's really nice, and yeah, they seem like the perfect sort of winter jumper. So eventually I'm gonna get onto one of those ones. But the Føyka jumper, I knitted in Alafosslopi, and I did it in the colours Oatmeal, Heather, White and Ash. Again, in another video I mentioned that it was another YouTuber who had also knitted this jumper, and those are the colours that she did. And it was too beautiful not to do myself. So credit to the original knitter, the original tastemaker. I knitted them. I hope we're all impressed that I've written down a lot of notes for this, and I'm trying to be thorough in giving you the information that I did that you might need if you wanted to knit this jumper yourself as well. I knitted the size large, so that was the chest measurement I think is 110 centimetres. So I wanted it to be oversized. I don't like generally to have fitted jumpers, especially not a jumper like that, which I think is, I mean, it's very oversized. The yarn is very chunky. I think it is chunky wool. Anyway, the yarn is chunky, so I don't know, there's a funny thing when something's close fitted but also chunky. I think it looked, I don't know, yeah, anyway. So I made it slightly oversized. I think it suits the pattern and it suits that sort of wintry, you want to be cozied up, not wearing something tight fitted. And so I made the size large. The needles, I used the recommended 4.5, which is for the ribbing around the neck and the sleeves and the ribbing at the bottom of the hem. But then, because this is my first colourwork jumper, I also sized up, which is what she recommended if you'd never done a colourwork jumper before. And I think that was the right decision, because I didn't know how tight my tension was going to be. I think generally I'm sort of on point when it comes to tension, but I did notice, I think maybe within a first couple of stitches when I was doing the colour work, I was using the 6.5? The 6mm needles, and it felt like it was a little bit tight. The stitches looked slightly smaller, and so at that point I think I undid like that much that I had done, and I sized up, and I think that was the right decision. I don't ever do a tension gauge. I should, but I don't know. I don't. I think I like to just. I think my tension is normally okay, so it normally works out fairly well, and I just figured it would be okay this time, and I think it was. Oh yeah, so these are the needle set that I use. It's just drops. I think I bought these at the very beginning when you've started a hobby and you're not entirely sure whether you want to spend like £70 on a set of needles. But I knew that I did need, if you're going to have circular needles, I knew I wanted the sort of selection, because you don't want to have to buy individuals. And this was the cheapest one, and they're really good. Yeah, they're about £20, I think. Maybe I've never actually handled any other type of needle, so these are very good. But yeah, if you're a beginner knitter, £20 for, I think it goes up to 8mm, and you might get, don't hold me to this, but you also might get some of the cables. So I've since bought more cables. I've got more 80s and more 100s and more 60s. Obviously because I had a little throng of doing multiple jumpers at the same time. And I still feel like I need more, which is kind of strange. But yeah, very good needle set. I've got some wooden ones in there as well. Is that light enough? Yeah, there we go. Some wooden ones in. I think I bought those at the very, very beginning, and I didn't really know what the difference would be between using a metal needle and using a wooden needle. And I since know, and it's a big difference. Much less slidey on a wooden needle. But I find that I'm fairly careful with my stitches, so they don't tend to slide off. So I do like the metal ones quite a bit, and that's what I mostly use. And these are what I used for this jumper. Yes, it was, my first colourwork jumper. And it looked quite intimidating. The pattern is quite, I don't know how intricate this pattern really is in comparison to other colourwork jumpers, because this is the only one I've done. But you get charts, you get a small chart that is just repeated for the bottom section. And then obviously there's a larger chart that sort of triangulates. And sort of that's probably the only bit that starts to become a bit tricky, because there are some times where, at the very top at least, when you're going to have to start decreases, you've got to then sort of account for the decreases when you're doing the chart. I don't really know how else to explain it, but even so, I think is a very good beginner colourwork jumper to try. Mainly just because, the yarn is really chunky, it's really large, so it actually knits up very fast. You can really see the definition between stitches. I mean, actually, funnily enough, the two of the colours that I used, white, and I think the Oatmeal Heather, the white was very close to the colour of the Oatmeal Heather. So sometimes I actually started to sort of lose. Is it the Oatmeal Heather? It's the grey, the light grey colour. I'm not sure if that's the Oatmeal Heather or that's the ash. But anyway, sometimes I did start to sort of lose my place, because sometimes the white looked like the grey and the grey looked like the white sometimes. But in general, with the big stitches, you could see what part of the pattern you were on, and it was really good. I really liked it. Yeah, so it's very encouraging to knit a jumper like that that's really chunky and that has a pattern to it, because you could see it becoming something very quickly. And I think every day I was working a lot then, and I was working quite hard days. So sort of I'm also very introverted, which is sort of a funny combination with at the time electricianing, because I was constantly talking to other people, talking to other trades, and so it sort of zapped my social battery quite a bit. So when I got home, all I wanted to do was knit and sort of put my headphones in and be quiet. And so that's what I did, sort of to Robin's dismay. I was sort of hard to communicate with, because I just needed to decompress and knit. And so after work, pretty much every day I was just like knitting for 2 to 3 hours in between making dinner, and it was addictive. It was so fun. It was really nice. And the yarn, the Alafosslopi, is not only is it incredibly beautiful, I think the colours are so nice. It's not, I didn't choose the most colourful colours, but it's got this like lovely natural heathered quality to it. It feels incredibly warm and sort of, I don't know if it's blown yarn or if it's just a very airy yarn, but it feels really sort of substantial and cosy, and it was nice to knit with. I did use the metal needles with it as well, so I think that was a good choice. If I'd used wooden needles, then they would have sort of caught a bit more, sort of been laggy, if you know what I mean. So the jumper was obviously very fun to knit, and I had a very nice time doing it. I did make an alteration to it, not a big alteration, admittedly, but I didn't do the turtleneck or the roll neck. I did just a crew neck jumper, and it wasn't a folded crew neck either. It was just knit purl, and then I cast off in Italian, bind off. So I mention that is because when I blocked it beforehand, what can I say? It was not, to be honest, it didn't change all that much with blocking. I feel like the colours or the stitch definition was pretty good anyway. I think the only thing that changed was the length, and yeah, around the neck it sort of relaxed, which was quite nice. I think I had knitted it hoping it would sort of be quite high, but not a true crew neck, sort of bordering on a like mock neck. But then with the blocking, it sort of eased out, and it just became I really like a wide neckline, even if it's ribbed and it comes up here. I really like it when it's quite wide, and that's sort of what happened. I think it does bunch ever so slightly at the back or at the front because of this relaxing, but I really, really love it. I really annoyingly didn't take it to Edinburgh with me. So when we arrived here, it was really cold, and I was sort of really wanting that jumper. It was such a mistake, but I had only limited things I could bring, and I just thought that jumper was so large and warm that I wouldn't necessarily need it in the spring, summer. So I think on my next trip back to my old home, I'm going to get that jumper again, because I think even in the summer it's nice to wear in the flat, and it's just, yeah, it's nice. I went with how many balls of yarn they suggested. I think it ended up being 3 balls of the white and 3 balls of the brown. I can't remember which one that is. I think that must be the Oatmeal Heather. I went with 3 balls of the Oatmeal Heather and 3 balls of the white, and then I think it was about 6 or 7 of the ash. I have got most of a ball of all 3, but I used up all the rest, so I might need to figure out something I can do with that leftover yarn. I did have half a mind to make another Føyka jumper, but make it in a slightly darker colour, and I loved the Oatmeal Heather, and I sort of had half a mind, yeah, to make the jumper in that colour mainly, and then do another 2 colours for the contrasting stitches, but I haven't decided that yet. And I've got so many things I want to knit, so sort of juggling. I think it might be a winter knit, or sort of autumn into winter, because then it's ready in winter. The jumper also only took me probably about 1 to 2 weeks to knit. I think that was in sessions of like maybe 4 times a week I was knitting for 2 to 3 hours, and then probably on a weekend I had a more intense session or 2. And yeah, that feels about right. It was a very quick knit, and I think, yeah, I keep saying about the chunky, but it does knit up very fast, so if you're in a bit of a slump, it might be a nice jumper to consider. So that is the Føyka jumper. I have just a little update on my other knits. I have finished the jumper number 15 by My Favourite Things Knitwear, and I finished the Ingrid jumper by Petite Knits. I finished it. I really just thought I need to finish these jumpers. It's getting a bit overwhelming, and I think it ended up being 4 days finishing the sleeves for the jumper number 15, and it took no time at all to do the Ingrid jumper sleeves. I haven't got them to show because from back home I need my knitting blocks, which I didn't take with me to Edinburgh, which was a massive mistake, and I regret it very much. But luckily I'm going to go back and collect them, and everything else that we need here at the flat we're going to bring back, because yeah, we did try and not bring too much, but we also didn't take some things that we probably should have. So now we've learnt that lesson. And yes, and so then the only other thing that I'm currently knitting and that I've just flown by with is the Oda vest. And that was in the Drops Merino and the Drops Kid Silk in marzipan and in white. And that's just knitted up incredibly fast. I don't think it's a fast jumper to knit, but I think I'm just sort of, I don't know, I've gone a bit tonto. But I've just finished the body and I'm on to splitting, shaping the armhole, so I have to leave half on a stitch holder and then shape the front and shape the back separately. But I'm very excited to finish that. And then after that, I've only got the Magda jumper, which I'm so desperate to knit. But I just want to finish these projects. I want to be able to really dedicate myself. So after this Oda vest is finished, it's on to the Magda, and then also I've got the Debbie Bliss pattern that I've also got to finish. But that's also, I can do those two at the same time, I think. But yeah, I'm knitting like crazy. It's so fun. I'm really enjoying myself. I also don't have a job, which is why I'm able to knit so much. So yeah, I'm trying to find a job also, but also enjoying my time making videos and also knitting. It feels like it's a nice break for now. But yeah, thank you also. I hit 1,000 subscribers a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week or two. I didn't mention it, and I'm so grateful and so happy, but I'm really thankful. I'm hoping to get monetized soon. I need 4,000 watch hours. Yeah, because then I can really sort of invest myself into this knitting, and yeah, it's really fun. So and obviously this is all down to you guys. And your comments have been so sweet and so thoughtful and insightful, and the advice I've gotten has been absolutely brilliant. I'm sorry I've not got your name written down, your comment. Oh, actually, I'm gonna get it up because I think it deserves a good. Aha, I found you. Okay, so also thank you very much to Debbie Branham, because what's it called? Split splicing. It is phenomenal. I'd never heard of it, and never, it wasn't even in my like sphere of consciousness. Like I not even YouTube or Instagram or whatever had suggested such a thing. And I've been doing it, and it is so good. So anyone else, if you don't like weaving in ends, do that, because it is brilliant. I've been doing it with the Oda vest. It's sort of a bit harder with that particular yarn because it's so, I almost need like a felting brush to sort of get it nice and fluffy. But I've sort of been getting a needle and sort of brushing it. But my God, it works so well. So kudos, that was fantastic advice. But yeah, to everyone also who gives me advice and tells their lovely stories and anecdotes. I love hearing it. It's really, really interesting, and thanks. So yeah, I'll end the video there. The next video will be my move to Edinburgh. So maybe a bit of an explore of some sights and some knitting and yeah, and what the city's like, because it's a very lovely city, so worth visiting if you're interested in it. And yeah, it's been a change for me, so I want to make a video about it. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. But otherwise, have a really great day. Bye bye.